I have been born and raised in Nebraska, so this is home. But, one of the most rewarding things, it seems like everywhere I go, no matter what day of the week, it's always the people. It's folks are really engaging. They're so authentic, I think is the word I want to use. They just tell you who they are, and they'll tell you what they think, and it's a great place to be.
One of the things that I love about doing ministry in the Great Plains is there's a commitment to innovation, and there's a commitment to doing things differently, even differently than they might have always been done. When I was in seminary, I was taught that at a seminary, you'll probably be appointed to a multi-point charge, a 3 or 4 point charge, and then if you do well after a number of years, 6 or 7 years, you might be moved to a small church, and then eventually, if you did well there, that you might be moved to a church. And after about 20 years, you might be in a church big enough to have the resources and the ability to do really risk-taking ministry, the type that many of us dreamed about. What I found in the Great Plains is that's simply not true. That mold doesn't work here, and so we don't even try. And so what we found is that there are a number of young clergy who are being appointed to places that fit their giftings, even if it might be past what we might expect for the standard chain of command, the standard earning of your keep. And so one of the top 10 churches in our conference is served by a woman who I believe is 31 currently. Because there's this commitment that we're going to do excellent ministry based off of your gifts and your abilities, not necessarily just your seniority. And I love that.
I worked 34 years with USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service. I'm a retread. And in my previous career, I was able to go to, I worked in Iowa, the state of Maryland, and I worked my way back to Kansas, and Missouri, and then up to Nebraska. And I've learned in my short career that everywhere you go, whether it's a big town or a small town, there's treasures wherever you go. Whether it's a cultural treasure or natural resources, unique things that you can do. Like around here, the Sandhill cranes are famous. This is the home turf of those Sandhill cranes funneled into this big old multi-continent migration. It's a unique thing that people come from all over just to see this. Every place that you go in Nebraska has something unique, and you can find that. And then the people, I don't know, maybe it's the same all over, but the Midwest values, and especially the small towns, the respect for a pastor, they teach it to their kids. You can sense that you have a running start in ministry already because they respect what you're doing and what you're all about. And it's just a unique environment to be, and an honor to be a pastor in the Midwest.
The transition into ministry program, I've enjoyed the getting together. We have a spring retreat and then a kind of a fall summer retreat. Those times have been really helpful for gathering ideas. Each time we gather, we learn something different. And those are times outside of the local church when we gather together. But on top of that, like when I first got to my first appointment, right out of seminary, they have a transition team set up. And so that transition team helped me avoid a lot of pitfalls, helped me to look out for things that I can look out for, things that's helpful for me to know. So that transition into ministry committee kind of was there for me all throughout my first 2 years. So that was very helpful for me as well, that I have a group of people that is there just for me, not to achieve any other purposes, or goals of the church, but just to support me, to be there to help me with whatever concerns that I have, or whatever ideas that I have, that they can say, hey, that's not a good time to implement this right now, or yeah, go for it. And so the transition into ministry program with that committee in that local church for my first 2 years was very helpful. Yeah, I've really enjoyed ministry here in the Great Plains, and I found it very rewarding with the relationships I've built. both with my congregation and also with a lot of my colleagues. I've been in the Great Plains for just over 3 years now. Just started my 4th year, and so it's been great. From the first 2 years of being in ministry, being in the residency program, that has been really great. Got a lot of good resources and training and learning about PCM and conflict resolution and those things like that. Those has been really helpful for me. And then at the same time, building those relationships with my fellow colleagues, that has been really good, very rewarding. As I know I'm not alone in ministry, that there are a lot of people that I can turn to. And on top of that, I've been also part of the Transition into Ministry program here in our conference for my first 5 years in ministry, which I'm still part of right now. And so that has been there on top of just the regular interactions I have with my fellow colleagues. This Transition into Ministry program has really helped me in preparing me for ministry, and I think that's something the Great Plains was really good at, in helping me transition from my time out of seminary into full-time pastoral ministry. Having a mentor that helps me for the first 2 years, and then having a coach now that's walking alongside me. So those have been good, very good for helping me in ministry. That's been very rewarding.
It's the people. When you gather together with people who believe in God and enjoy being a part of a community that worships and studies and works together for God's kingdom, it's so rewarding. It's hard to imagine not doing something like that right now, because the power of people coming together is rich.